Good job, Zoom. I'm proud of you. Welcome, everybody, to the Mullins Over Music Podcast. I'm your host, the sick Austin, and I'm here with a special guest today. I'll let him introduce himself to you guys, even though I know who he is, but I like so. And give me a
Yeah.
fun fact.
Fun fact. Okay. What's up, y'all? This is Nick from Wolves of the Gate. Fun fact. Mm, hmm, let me think.
I've got a fun fact. This
I was
was
just say I'm trying to think of one that would. I mean, maybe one is that nobody's heard. Possibly. Fun fact is this is a little off the cusp, but so when we have to drive to shows at night, um there is a phenomenon called a time warp that sometimes happens when I'm driving. And you can ask any of the guys in the band about this. That's what they call this. Um no, it's just something that happens like when I because I've got ADHD, so sometimes I get distracted. So like if I stop for gas, I was like, I'll go and use the restroom and then I'll like get something to eat or something. So it's like, we'll we'll get, let's say we have 3 hours to drive, to get to our next show. Or I'll use a different example because sometimes it's usually for longer drives. Like, we have 5 hours to get to the next show, and that's the distance we need to travel. And then like I'm supposed to drive three, like that's like, okay, that's the goal. I'm gonna drive 3 hours, I'm gonna get there. And then let's say we only get like 2 or 2.5 hours like there, and they'll say we hit a time warp because I had to stop and do something. My stomach was upset, or something erroneous, that kind of thing. So time warps, and as a fun fact about Wolves of the Gate, or Nick Detty specifically, because I'm the only one that causes them.
that is a fun fact, man. Cool to be honest. And I got a fun fact. This was $6.
$6, nice. That's cool.
Black truffle infused hot sauce.
Wow, that sounds intense.
Um, we're waiting on a special occasion to open this up because
Mm.
then I have to refrigerate it, and there's no guarantee that once it goes in the refrigerator, it won't be gone the next day. So
Oh, right, yeah. For sure.
gotta be careful with it, and it better be worth the $6 or I'm returning it to Walmart.
Right.
I've
I don't
been
know, man. There's very little things you can trust Walmart for. So,
Yeah, for sure, and I've never returned food items to Walmart, but this will be the first time if that happens.
right.
Okay, so we're gonna begin the podcast with a couple of funny questions for you.
Okay.
Got to get the people laughing before you bring them into the serious note of music.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the first question is, what is the strangest Amazon purchase you've made or nearly made?
Strangest Amazon purchase.
Or purchase in general?
Gosh. Or just purchase in general.
Yeah, like
I mean, uh, I mean, I guess it's not like necessarily strange, but it's just like the timing is strange, I guess. We just talked about the time warp thing. One of the things they did during said time warp was um, I stopped at a Walmart because I had to use the bathroom, and my shoes were in like really rough condition, so I bought new sneakers from Walmart. Yeah, which we just talked about. We just talked about Walmart, but yeah, no. Yeah, I bought brand new, like like $30 tennis shoes. Nothing crazy, but like the reason why I say it's strange is because like it was like 2 in the morning, and like like for me, for that to be the thing that I think of And then of course, like, I've obviously slept in because I'm up late, and like the guys wake up and they're just like, what is this? You just see a big Walmart bag. Yeah. So I would say like as far as things that come to mind, that's pretty odd.
Yeah, that is pretty strange. Funny enough, I recently bought uh within the past year shoes at Walmart too because my shoes ended up in rough condition.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
in a
can
pinch,
be cheap.
yeah, it does be cheap, man. Uh,
Yeah.
especially when you got size 14 feet.
Yeah. As I say, mine are 12. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, 12 and up is when you start hitting that oh, now I gotta buy special shoes or you know,
Yeah.
you don't care about what kind of shoes they are anymore. You just care that they fit.
Right. Right.
That's why I wear slides all the time. They're comfy and I don't have to worry
Mhm.
about the size so much.
Mhm.
Okay, so next question on our list of funny questions. What would you do with the money if you won the lottery? Let's say the current jackpot, which is like $56 million.
Mm.
I think that's right anyway.
Um, I don't know. That's tough because I mean, it's hard to think about something like that. Yeah, when it's not like you know, because we don't live like super like beyond our means. So I mean, I don't know, man. Probably like uh, I mean, there are a lot of great charities out there. So that obviously like definitely, you know, use some love. I mean, definitely, pour into the local church. Um, you know, supporting your local church, supporting their ministry. I mean, I'd at least I guess save some back for retirement or kids, for grandkids. I don't I don't know. I always hate that question because I'm just like, dude, I have no clue. you know, I don't. Yeah, but that I mean the lottery as a concept is that's nuts, man. Like you're talking about changing somebody's life forever in one fell swoop.
For the
So
good or for the bad.
yeah, I mean that's to say it just depends on the person, I guess. I mean it's rooted out of gambling, which I mean and everything in moderation, but it's just like, you're somebody, especially if you're somebody who just buys lotto tickets all the time, and it's just like feeds that negative reinforcement, like just it's just keep pumping money into it. I don't know. If it says anything, we're the only country in the entire world that has a lottery system. So, it's just another part of the wheel, man, another part of the corrupt ongoings, So, but because they take like almost half of it anyway. You win it, and then they then they tax you on it, and it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on now. Then again, we're talking about, I mean, tens of millions of dollars. More than any person in their right mind would ever know what to do with. So
I
yeah,
mean, the current Mega Millions is at 208 million.
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Is like, dude, there's no way. I mean, even if you walked away with $100 million, like, there's no way you would ever like spend that, you know, ever. And that's kind of how they get you is like they know you won't spend all of that, and then they just I think when you die, like unless you were to like leave it in inheritance, they just take it. Like they just take it back. Like they see that as like government asset or something or whatever, which is ridiculous. But yeah. Like I said, I normally don't ever like sorry. Yeah, I don't ever buy into that stuff. It's just like I know the Lord provides, and you know, I mean, His ways are better than mine, and it's just I'm going to trust that He knows. I'm not gonna like chase frivolous things like that. So
No, I totally understand that. And I mean, with the probability alone being like what, 1 in 1.7 billion or something like that, trillion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Given however many people played the lottery, yeah, over 7 billion people on the planet, and we're 1.7 of it. Of people who, yeah.
Let's see what the current lottery chance is. The Carolina pick four, which I'm in North Carolina, so I guess that'll be.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's 1 in 10,000 chance of claiming the $5,000 jackpot.
Right. Just the $5,000, not including everything else.
Yeah, it says the Powerball starting as low as $4 for a single ticket. It's 1 in 24.96 trillion.
That's
Something
insane.
that's such an
Yeah, because you got to think about people who buy like multiple tickets, right? Like they buy 10 or 20 at a time.
at least
Yeah.
with a raffle ticket, you're putting it towards something good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, man, it's just like the lottery to me is the same thing as it's. I hate saying this, but it's the same thing as our stocks because it's essentially the same concept. Like it's like only do it if you truly have money to burn. Like it's money that you could just throw in the trash can because that's all that amounts to.
For sure, man, for sure. I know. And for me, if I had the kind of money to just burn on stuff like that, I wouldn't be burning it on that.
Exactly. That's kind of the whole concept, right? Is that like, oh, well, if you've got money to just throw away on lottery, like obviously you wouldn't be throwing it away on lottery because it would be very different. So yeah, no, I 100%.
I'd burn it on $6 hot sauce.
Right.
Yes, I am gonna tell everybody about that hot sauce until it's gone. Well, even a little bit after that, because if it's bad, I'm gonna let the whole world know that it's bad. Okay, let's move on from these funny questions. Although I might throw one in there at random just to throw you off guard.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with the first one. And this is always a classic, you know. Take me back to a young Nick and tell me how you really got into the music that you are in now.
Well, so my cousin Logan, our buddy Pat, and our other buddy Draley, like we all used to skate together all the time. So like naturally, like we all shared music and stuff, and like we always used to like share bands and stuff. My cousin Logan was actually the one that was like he was like the one that was like kind of into the like punk rock bands and stuff like that. Like he was always finding new music and stuff. Now, because back then it's when it was like, touring was the big thing. Like everybody was pirating music all the time, which being a musician, obviously I do not condone. But like back then, you don't know what that is. You know what I mean? You don't know what like what you're actually doing. So it's just like, oh, it's music, it's free music. Like, yeah. So I used to have like libraries of just downloaded like back when MP3s were a big thing, which is kind of weird to think about because it's like the concept of like burning CDs is obviously such like a foreign concept now. So, but yeah, like he used to like there's this little crappy MP3 player I used to have that I skated with that he like used to put songs on it for me all the time, and he kind of got me into like a lot of different stuff. And then oddly enough, my dad also listened to like a lot of newer stuff too, like because he was like into Slipknot and Disturbed and Corn and like all that kind of stuff. And um, my cousin Logan is what got me into bands like Under Oath and like August Burns Red and stuff like that. Like they like because I grew up in like a semi church family, sort of like not really, but like it was the thing that our parents did, so that's what we did, kind of thing. But um Yeah, like it was just kind of funny because like my cousin was obsessed with Define the Great Line. Like he loved that record. He thought it was amazing. I mean, it still is, still an amazing record. Um, and that was like one of my first introductions into like a screamo band, you know what I mean, or anything like that. And that got me into metalcore, which like led me to bands like August Burns Red and For Today and Sleeping Giant and stuff like that. And so like my music taste as far as like heavier music was concerned was like opened up a little bit, but mostly like in the Christian like genre, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Between all that and then just like learning about different bands and stuff, like once I heard screaming, I was like, man, that sounds awesome. I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And then I just like would practice at home and stuff. And it actually wasn't until right before I joined Wolves, like I was watching these videos called "The Zen of Screaming," which is by a instructor by the name of Melissa Cross, and she's the oh kitty cat, hello.
Yep.
Um, uh, she like obviously is the what what's a good representation.
Screaming Master.
She's the queen of screaming. Like she is 100% like she's the go-to. Like if you want to learn how to scream, you go to this woman. She is amazing. I got to meet her when we were on tour with Memphis Mayfire because they came out to see obviously Maddie and then like the boys in From Ashes to New because they're really good friends with her too. I just like I felt like such a fangirl because it was like, hey, listen, like I just wanted to say like you know, I've listened to all of your teachings. Like I'm a really big fan of yours. Like I wouldn't be anywhere near the vocalist I am today, without you. And she was like the nicest person in the whole world. Like it was really awesome. But yeah, so like we started doing that, and like me and my buddies in high school, some other guys that I knew and had classes with, like they played instruments, and we just like made a band, like just out of nowhere, just for fun. Like we didn't really know we didn't really know what kind of style of music we wanted to make. We just drew influences from all kinds of different things. And then like that kind of like yeah, just kind of started progressing. I joined another band, which was the last band that I played in. Or I joined another metalcore band, and then I joined a band right before Wolves that actually led me to meet Wolves at the Gate because we played a show together, and that's how we kind of like met. Um, but I mean, yeah, it was kind of weird, man. Like it just kind of like after hanging out with my cousin and our buddies, like it just kind of spun off from there, just like learning about different bands and stuff. I went to a lot of like really small punk and hardcore shows like back in the day, like all the time. Um, and played shows here and there, like just around. It wasn't anything super crazy. The band I was in before Wolves like toured like a very very small amount. It was like on the weekend kind of thing. So it wasn't until I actually met Steve and the other guys in Wolves that I started listening to bands like um, Thursday and Thrice and oh, it's another great example. I mean, get like Yellow Card and Story of the Year and stuff like that because they were like super like early 2000s, like that was their jam. Like they loved the early 2005 like rock, like punk rock kind of thing. Which I had listened to back in the day, but I was a huge like hardcore metalhead kid, like that's usually what I listened to, but um I would say that's when like my music taste like really like not matured, but I mean kind of just because it like allowed me to have like a really well-rounded idea of like the kind of vocalist like I wanted to be, because I started wanting to learn how to sing and like how to do all that. So and then, obviously where we're at now, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, man, I dig it. And speaking of now, you guys put out that Lost in Translation record, which I've spun I don't know how many countless times.
That's awesome.
Do I get the Echo version of the vinyl or do I get the other one?
I don't know, man. Like both of those things are fire. Like both of those things are sweet. There's one thing I've always admire or praised Solid State about is like whoever their design team is on the vinyl records, like dude, they kill it. because every single time they like send us a picture or send us a mock-up of the vinyl prints, I'm just like, I don't even have any critiques. I don't even have anything bad to say. But yeah, actually, like the Lost in Translation record is actually a great representation of that like musical influence that we've had, because those are all bands that like we were heavily motivated by to want to make music, in our own different like ways, kind of thing. So we just picked the best song out of like a huge playlist of those kinds of songs. We just picked the best songs that we thought would be, you know, a direct, just a good representation of like, you know, what drives us, like what fuels us, like what kind of bands are we into,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and you've got such a wide variety. You got 21 Pilots, of course. You got Linkin Park, Jimmy Eat World, Billie Eilish. You know, that's
That's one of my favorites. That's one
someone.
of my favorites.
Foo Fighters, The Pretender. What a classics Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
by 30 Seconds to
Yep.
Mars, Deftones, Muse, John Bellion. Yeah, I mean, you got great songs, and they're all great representations of stuff that you listen to Lost in Translation, and then you go back and listen to Eulogies and all the other.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely hear the influence that each of these bands have had on you.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
dig. How did that record come about exactly?
Yeah. I mean, I think I might have said it a little bit, but yeah, we like literally were just like, we've done obviously cover songs in the past. And it was just like one EP, and it was like, man, it was like 2015. It was like forever ago. And we're just like, yeah, it'd be cool to do cover songs again. Like, that'd be awesome. We had been playing with the idea for years, obviously. But we're just like, man, I don't think we really know how we want to do this yet. I think at some point we just kind of started winging it. We're just like, okay, well, I mean, if we're gonna do it, like, let's just pick some songs, So, and we just like made this like, because we have shared playlists that we like several different playlists that we use on Spotify together, that we share with each other in the band. So like one is like, like for our next record, like, what are some influences, or styles like we're trying to see like help evolve some of our music onto that, or what do you want to see on the cover album, or songs that you think would be cool to cover or stuff like that. So like, yeah, we just started a playlist and we just started kind of picking through them, and there were some that were really easy picks, like that were just like, okay, yeah, we definitely have to do this song because this song is cool and like we all love this song. um Sweetness by Jimmy Eat World was like that song, or is like one of the songs, because we'd always talked about doing that. What did we? I'm trying to think of another one that might have been. I mean, the Heathen song was like a no brainer too, but it was like definitely challenging because like obviously like us and 21 Pilots are from the same music scene. And like we like obviously like we know those guys, having played shows like with them in the past and stuff like that. So it's just like just kind of like we didn't want to like we didn't want to like ruin their song. So because we love those guys, and we never wanted to like do anything like bad for it. So yeah, we wanted to like put our own spin on it, but obviously like still bring out what were the best parts like that made that song obviously really great. So I'm glad it turned out the way it did. The Linkin Park song was hard, just because it like obviously there are a ton of bands that have like you know covered Linkin Park songs like constantly. It's just like, well, like what if we picked a song that was a little bit more like off the wall, but like obviously people are gonna know, So, and Breaking the Habit seemed to be like very fitting. Um, some of the other ones were just cool ones, just like Attack by 30 Seconds to Mars. Like that's such a great song. Like I think I mean that whole record is really great. But Attack is definitely like one of my favorites. Um, we're all big Deftones fans, so that one was like a must. Yeah, the Billie Eilish song was cool because that kind of like felt like that kind of came out of left field for us, but I mean, it still turned out really great. So yeah, I mean, we just kind of started doing it, and it turned out great, thankfully.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, Breaking the Habit is not a very often covered song either. So
Yeah.
you chose a good one there. I mean, they're all great. Like I said, I spin the record a couple times already. I like to do
Mm,
this thing where I go through the entire discography of the person I'm bringing on to the podcast.
mm.
I got 40-hour work week, so I got 40 hours
Right.
still.
Plenty of time. Yeah.
Surprisingly, it works out pretty well, you know.
Yeah.
And then I asked a bunch of people, and I'm like, oh crap, how do I do this?
Right.
But yeah, again, like I said, great record. And then Eulogies, of course, came out the year before, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And that one's great too. I was spinning that while I was cooking. So yeah, on to our next question here. What is the writing process like for writing new music?
Writing process is, I mean, a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of like at home recording type stuff. So like I've got here next to me, like I'm sitting at my desk right now, in my studio, my little make, you know, makeshift home studio. Yeah, I mean, I've just got a Shure SM7B and just like some like really basic stuff, just a Scarlett 2i4, and I don't like do anything super crazy. And I'll just like record, just like record what I can and just record ideas down in Pro Tools and just like send it off. I mean, it's most of the time. It stems from like Steve will obviously like he'll write like a good like pretty much most of the song, because he'll like write all the instrumentals and just write drum ideas down and stuff like that, just because he is full producer like mind, you know what I mean? Like he has the like he can hear everything that he wants to hear in it, but like obviously then says, hey, this is what I was thinking, like how do you guys feel about this, and then just kind of sends the idea out, kind of thing. So, and then yeah, we just kind of piece it together, and then when it's time to when it's time to get together and record, like by that time we already have like most of the demos done, and we just kind of tweak it as we're going along, like little bits here and there. With that, sometimes they'll we've got obviously we've had like a lot of producer friends and stuff like that we've met over the years. Like definitely Joey and Steve have got a lot of connections with different guys they bounce ideas off of, like other producers and really talented musicians, that they'll just like go and spend a weekend with them. Like um they'll fly out and they'll just like spend the weekend with some guys and just be like, oh hey, like these are some songs you're writing, like what do you guys think, and then they'll put us some creative input. So we definitely just like we try to keep it like think outside the box kind of thing.
Okay. Okay. And you said you use Logic Pro for that or Pro.
No, I started using Pro Tools just because Pro Tools is so user friendly. So it's very 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 easy to set up, even for somebody like me who like does not like I understand like some of it, you know what I mean, but like as far as like how to tweak things and stuff like that, like my audio knowledge is very limited. So it's just like even for somebody like me, it's very easy to just set up and go. So which is nice. So.
I have to agree with you there. I was using Pro Tools earlier today, and I'm like, you know, I've been using Logic. I used Reaper before. I still use
Mm.
them, but I never
I
realized how
used
intuitive it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I used Logic for a while, just because like I had a MacBook that I used, but then um, for when I started doing streaming stuff and like started like doing music stuff and all that, like and actually getting a machine that could like handle like all of it, I ended up switching to Windows just because I'm more comfortable on a Windows computer. But like, yeah, I got a pre-built and started messing with all that stuff. And then I was just like, at that time, I was just, well, I'll just try Pro Tools because it's pretty universal between most platforms. And it was just like, it's pretty much plug and play at that point. There's really like nothing to it.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the cross-platform master. I mean, Reaper is cross-platform too, but I don't think to the point that Avid has made over the years. And then, of
Yeah.
course, Logic being a Mac only thing, it does
Yeah.
limit the utilization for
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
interconnectivity.
exactly.
Had to think of that word, interconnectivity. I'm on a, I'm on a low word count day today. Okay. So, what you talked about recording. Here's my next question. Again, it's that kind of day. Um, what is your favorite song you've written and your favorite song that you play live? Oh, oh, okay. Balloons.
Oh my. That
You're
was
strange.
somebody sent a birthday gift.
You can do this, right? And come on. Okay, it doesn't want to work, but you can do that and it'll shoot lights all over the place.
Dude, Zoom is quirky, man. As the favorite song that we've written. Um, hmm, man, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I guess like especially more recently, like when we were playing shows, just because it's so much fun to play. But I mean, one of my favorite songs that we've written is "Weight of Glory," just because like I know we border that like post-hardcore metalcore kind of like realm kind of thing, but like Weight of Glory is just like full send metal. And like I think that's I rarely get that chance, you know what I mean, to just go full out like on vocals, so because I know that's like that predominantly has like my vocals on it kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, it's an intense metal song. Like I love it. I think it's awesome. And it was even really fun, right? It's one of my most memorable songs writing, with Steve, because like when he and I wrote that song, it was just like he already, he had the music down kind of thing. He had like some of the parts that he wanted. He had to rearrange some of them but he had the idea, but he's like, dude, like I'm gonna be honest, like I don't really like I've got some ideas, but like I don't really know what to do with the song. And we're so Jeremy, who is like one of our former members, he's one of the original members of the band. He does studio stuff full time. Like he is a full time producer now. Um and we like had like all the guys flew in town, and then we just spent like the weekend at his studio, like just hanging out and demoing out stuff and doing all that. So it was everybody else had already flown or driven back, and it was just me and him. And it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, kind of thing. We're just like we're zonked, we're just like, man, like I'd really love to get some ideas down for this song. And I was just like, okay, let me try something. And then we just went. Like that was it. Like I just started laying down vocal tracks. And it was awesome because it was just like most of the time it was just me and him just like head banging, just like hanging out, just like thrashing and stuff, which is awesome. Like obviously Steve's like one of my best friends. So it was awesome just for us to just like sit down and like write vocals together. It was cool. So but yeah, yeah, it's definitely one of my fun memories of writing songs on that record. Um, and is definitely one of the coolest songs I think we've written.
Okay. Now, what is your least favorite song you've written?
Least. Mm. I don't know. Like my default is to want to say anything off Captors because like playing Captors live is just so rough, like for any of us, just because it's just like, it's our first record, like we're just like we're really like locking down like our sound and like what we're doing and like what we want to do musically, but it's just like it is just riff after riff after riff and vocal part after vocal part. It is rough to play live. um it is still fun, but it's just like as far as like preference is concerned. So I yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just I would say most things off Captors is like, not that I have any distaste of any of those songs, but like if I had a preference of songs that I didn't would like to not play, besides Dead Man. Obviously Dead Man's like great. It's super chill. It's super very like balanced and stuff like that, so it's just like it's not super riffy or anything. And it's a fun song to play. And it's one of our like, more popular songs. But yeah, probably probably most things off of Captors.
That's fair. I mean, you're right. It is quite the riff hard album, which
Yeah,
again, no shame to that. It's a fantastic
right.
voice.
Yeah.
When you're trying to perform, sometimes you just got to break out that old caveman riff song to really get
Right.
going.
Right.
I mean, after all, you got slam music being so classic hardcore music making a comeback now. You almost got to
Oh
have
yeah.
caveman
Oh
cave
yeah.
riff song.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question I got because we're moving right through, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Figured the more rest for you would be better,
Oh yeah, for sure.
right?
So I gotta ask, where did that question go? Okay, whatever. I remember the question, and that's the important part. Um, the next question is, if I remember now. Oh yeah, guilty pleasures. What are your guilty pleasure songs to listen to?
Oh. Hmm. I was gonna say I listen to like all kinds of stuff. I don't know if I would.
I know guilty pleasure is it gives such a negative connotation, but on this
Yeah.
podcast we view it as a positive thing.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like I always like. I grew up in like I grew up in a really small town. So it's just like, well, it's not so small anymore, but at the time, like it's still relatively small. It's just a very small farm town kind of thing. That I like grew up in like a good portion of my life. So like I also like went to a country school, so I just like I went to a lot of like I listened to a lot of country as a kid too. Which is like kind of the funny shift between like my junior high and high school days of listening to like rap and country, and then like it's switching into like metal and hardcore and rock and all that, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I go back and I'll listen to like old country, some like Tim McGraw and Chesney, and like there's some other stuff that's just like it's just like on a playlist like somewhere. You know what I mean? It just plays like random stuff for like a Pandora radio or something. But I started getting into this band from Nashville called Lakeview. And they're just like super sick. They're like hardcore punk, but with like country singing. Like, and I know that sounds like wild, but it's really good. Like it really is. Um, my buddy Luke Healy, he used to play guitar for a band called Those Who Fear. Um, which are like really good friends of mine. We used to play shows with them like all the time, and they're like we're one of the heaviest bands to ever like exist in that metalcore scene. Like they're insane. Um, they got signed to oh my gosh,
But
the one that the record label everybody like every metal band gets signed to, like in the Christian music scene.
That is
Not Fearless. What's up?
so that isn't Solid State or Fearless.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, like Fearless is kind of like in the middle ground, like you know what I mean. Like there are some like artists they've signed like that, but obviously they signed like For Today and like August Burns Red and stuff like that.
Under oath now.
That is, yeah. Wow, that is gonna Face Down. There we go. Face Down Records. Yeah. Yeah, they signed to Face Down for like 2 or 3 records, which I thought was cool because they definitely deserve the support. But after Those Who Fear was done, Luke went on to like kind of do his own thing, and he is the guitar player and one of like the backup singers for Lakeview. And it's just these two guys. It's him and another guy, and they just kind of do their own thing. But they do like the country pop thing, but like with like a pop punk twist, and it's like it's super good. Yeah, I hope they get some really good traction because they're definitely really creative. But yeah, I mean that's one of my things. I mean, I love other things like that are kind of like off the wall out of my genre, like Andy Mineo and Lecrae and NF is like I'm a diehard NF fan. Like I think that dude does not miss at all. Like he just doesn't. Like it's crazy to see that like he's like one of the very few artists that I've ever seen that has like made the transition into like like making it big time. Like he is top 40 now. He is like selling out arenas, like that kind of like he is like he's made it, in the industry or whatever. But like there's literally nothing about him or his performance or like his quality that has changed like at all. Like he's just it's just it's the same him and it's the same great stuff, just like magnified to a different scale, kind of thing, which is kind of insane. Because he's being managed by the same people that managed 21 Pilots, so kind of makes sense that he's like kind of like soaring up to that scale now. But I was like, my wife and I saw him in concert, and he was amazing. Like it was great. Like him and Corday, like it was pretty nuts. So yeah.
Okay. And I will say his tickets aren't cheap anymore. But it's
No, they're not. We got ours for free because of it was a we bought tickets. It was like to a Jackets game or something, or like we bought tickets to a game one time, or like we were going to a show or something, and there was a mishap. And they basically just like it wasn't refunded. I'm trying to remember what it was.
rain
Oh,
check.
we had planned to go to, yeah, kind of like we had planned to go to a show, and they gave us like a voucher for like a couple $100 to go, like kind of thing. So we were actually able to like we just like ported that over to the NF tickets, or it was like because NF tickets by themselves I think are like $60 or something like that, which wasn't yeah. Um, but we like I don't think it was $200. It was probably less than that. But like we got some like decent seats, like which was nice. So like we basically got to go see him for free, so which was awesome. Um and yeah, they're not cheap, but I still stand behind his music and his message and like what like seriously like cuz his music has spoken to me in volumes, like with what he deals with and like some of the mental struggles that he goes through. I relate a lot with like what he talks about in his lyrics. And like I appreciate that there is still some artists out there that are just that honest, like and that open about stuff. So
Very genuine dude, and
yeah,
I hope to get him on the podcast eventually. Uh,
dude, that'd be sick.
yeah, he's definitely on my list. You were on the list. He's on the list.
Mm.
Be fair, I got a long list, but
That's good.
yeah, I'll always be searching for the next thing to be on the podcast. Is the way I
Mhm.
will say that again. Oh, next person, not thing. My bad. Um. Okay, so my next question is, what's it like being on Solid State? Because Solid State's always been one of my favorite record labels. So gotta
Mm.
gotta ask you, kind of what your experience has been with them. I mean, you talked about it a little bit. Their design team is beyond spectacular,
Oh
especially.
yeah. Well, Ryan Clark is one of their main like designers when it comes to like album art and stuff like that. And obviously everybody knows who Ryan Clark is. He's an insanely talented individual. So because he's made a lot of our artworks for our albums. I think if actually not like all of them, if I remember correctly. Like yeah, he's if he hasn't done all of them, he's done like almost all of them. Because he's just basically like hired by Solid State as their in-house guy at this point. I mean, yeah, I mean Solid State's been great. I mean, we had looked at like other record labels in the past, to see if like if we wanted to try switching up the touring situation a little differently, but it's just like just because of us having families and jobs and stuff like that, it's a little hard. So, but I mean, legit, I really don't have anything bad to say about Solid State. I mean, they've always worked with us and they've always like been really great. Adam is our A&R rep, and he's been just the most awesome dude. Like, he just seriously, he's been the best to work with, like on like just like picking tours that make sense, not just taking every tour that comes our way, because that can just kind of get miserable, from time to time when you're just doing tours that make no sense, or you're just like doing tours just to do them. That doesn't, and we got a lot of cool opportunities. Obviously we did the oh, oh man. We did the Memphis Mayfire tour,
Yeah.
which obviously, like, I love Maddie to death. Obviously, like, he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. He's just the nicest dude, and he was so welcoming to us. Like, obviously, we'd like have a lot of mutual friends, and like we've met before and stuff like that. But like getting to hang out with all of those guys was just like such a blast. So yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, dude, Solid State's been fantastic to us over the years, and really a lot of record labels wouldn't continue to pick up the option, or continue to do like just to make records with bands that don't tour and stuff like that. But like Solid State really believes in what we're doing, and and on top of that, they really enjoy our music, and that's like a double whammy. That's a double win for us, because it's just like I don't think we could have asked for anything better, and it just works for what we are. And we've asked, if we've asked for some things like in the past that like, where we've kind of pushed limits and like pushed budgets and stuff like that, just to keep doing bigger and better things. And they've rocked it 100%. They've been behind us every step of the way. So it's like, I mean, what more could you ask for at that point? Like, especially when, the touring isn't there or anything like that. So
For sure. I mean, they from what I've always heard from people, I mean, the labeled podcast for one with Matt Carter, I think I've listened to every episode of that. No, everybody
mm,
always has good stuff to say about Solid State. I mean,
yeah, I mean, they're good people. Like they genuinely, they are like, they do really care about the artists that they work with, and they try their best to like make everybody happy, kind of thing, because that's their job. Like they want artists to want to be a part of what they're doing, and they want like artists to feel comfortable and good about being a part of that label. So, and obviously like bands that are road warriors and stuff, like you fit for Kings, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that like obviously it's worked out really well for them. They're doing really well. So
they got a new the Metalcore Dropout Session 2 or whatever it's called with
mm.
what the just more bubbles and stuff popping up on I, you know what, I'll take it. Um Fun fact, Maddie Mullins and I share the same last name.
I, I saw that. That's you guys related?
You know what? I don't know, but he is from Washington State, and I have
Right.
family. My grandfather, his dad moved to Washington State with his second wife.
Mm.
And, my grandfather has family out there, so It's very well possible. I've hit him up on Instagram, so Maddie responds, so we can figure this out. Need a DNA test.
take take your DNA. You're 23 and me. Yeah, you're
But yeah, all it's always good to hear good things about Solid State, and like you
yeah.
said, Ryan Clark does fantastic artwork.
Oh, he's insane. It's incredible.
I met him at Furnace Fest 2022 when Demon Hunter played. I got a
Oh, that's cool.
got a concussion at his set, so
Oh. I think I was there that year. If I remember, if I'm trying to think of, yeah, because me and Maddie and a bunch of his friends and like my wife, like we all went down to Furnace Fest because we went to see Blindside.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which was, oh my gosh, that was just an insane night. Like, yeah, nothing. I will remember that day forever because, like one of my dreams was to always have seen Blindside live, and we finally got to do it. So,
Which day did Blindside play? They play the first day because I missed the first day because I had Norma Jean on it and a bunch of other stuff.
hmm yes, because it was Friday, and I was gonna say I remember this very vividly because somebody got hurt during Norma Jean's set.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big pit and a dude like got like knocked out like really hard and he was just like having a hard time. But I remember that, yeah, because the Norma Jean played main stage along with along with like a lot of other insane band. Like Thrice was the headliner for
Yeah.
that day. For the main stage, along with like Newfound Glory.
Uh,
And Poison the Well, and like it was such a crazy day because then Maylene and the Sons of Disaster played right before Blindside. I'm just like, what is this festival? Like, what is going on? There's so many good bands.
um,
Yeah.
you had you also had Watashi Wa playing on the
Mm-hmm.
same stage as, you know, Belmont, and then you had the Showdown and Kubla
Yeah,
Khan.
I saw. Yeah, I saw. I was just say I saw the showdown too. That was insane. Yeah,
So you stayed over by the shed most of the day.
most of the day. Yeah, the stage that's underneath the tower, underneath of the machinery, like kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, because like the Acacia strain and everything, like those guys were playing on the other stage. I never made it over to that stage a whole lot. I don't know. I was bummed that I didn't get to see some of them, but like yeah, it seemed like all of the bands worth seeing, like or like guys that hadn't played shows in years were like, yeah, that show, that side stage, and then obviously the main stage. Um,
Earth Crisis was real good that set too. It was Earth Crisis.
yeah,
I think Demon Hunter played right afterwards, and it was an insane two sets in a row. So
yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
Sunday had Comeback Kid and Orbit
I do. I can literally not tell you how bummed out I was because we had to. We had like a 6 hour drive back home. We drove from Ohio clear down to Alabama to go see this, and yeah, Comeback Kid and 4 Year Strong, and 4 Year Strong was playing Enemy of the World front to back, and I was so pissed. I was so mad. I was like so upset. I was like, dude, like, there's no way. I've always wanted to see them play this record. Um, I don't know. We'll catch him on the 40 year, I guess, or something. you know.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Furnace, you gonna not trying to confirm anything, but you guys thinking of maybe you guys are gonna play this year?
I don't know. I mean, if we got an offer, that'd be great. That would that
I'm
would be awesome. I mean, I'm all about it. Yeah, I mean, Furnace Fest is like, yeah, one of the biggest like Southern music festivals like to exist. So yeah, I would be completely unopposed. But yeah, I mean,
the end of an era.
say what?
The end of an era is what they say. So
Oh, really? Well, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. The last time I went to Furnace Fest, and then what was the other festival I went to?
Went to Blue Ridge.
Yes, Blue Ridge. I said, but like Blue Ridge was like, I mean, both of those festivals looked like they were doing really well, though. I was like, just off of band lineups and stuff like that. Like obviously Bad Omens is like getting really big right now, and they're like circulating inside of the festival circle. So it's just like I don't know. Seems like bands are doing really well. I mean, we also went to uh oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the other one. It was in Kentucky.
Um, it's not incarceration, is it?
Oh, no. Well, we did go to Incarceration. That's up here in Mansfield. Um, we did go, and that one was really good. Like that one does really well. But no, we went to Louder Than Life Fest in Kentucky. And that was another one. I was just like, it seems like there's only a few left. Like it's mostly just like the big festivals that are like doing really well. Like there's none of the your Ichthuses and stuff like that are kind of dead at this point because I mean, to be fair, the whole creation festival like uh organization has kind of ruined all that, to be totally honest. I mean, it's not been great. So, but yeah. But yeah, it seems like they do well.
Well, this year at Furnace Fest, they've only announced 4 bands so far. They got Shy.
Mm.
I think they're playing a full album. They got Under Oath playing They're Only Chasing Safety in its entirety.
Wow.
Um, Poison the Well, and then
Mm.
who the last one is. It slips my mind every single time. But yeah,
Mm.
Poison the
Those are
Well.
already those are pretty great already though.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Furnace Fest, it being their according end of the era, which seems like it's going to be their final year. We're gonna
I
have
did I did yeah, I did hear about them wanting to like basically like put it up. They've been doing it a long time.
Stretch Armstrong.
No way. That just announced Five Iron Frenzy and then I'm there. That's it. Like yeah, really announce the boys and then I'll have to find a way to make it down there.
Yeah, man. And let me know if you do, because we're definitely going this year. So
Oh, cool. Okay, rad.
um okay, let's move on to our next question. Uh Gear talk. I gotta ask you about your in-ear mix, because that's if you guys do
Oh,
in-ear, or do you guys do
okay, we do. Yeah,
slabs?
we do in ears. I mean, ugh, I'm. I feel bad because I'm always horrible. I'm your typical vocalist. You know what I mean? I'm horrible about gear talk. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I just use a dual driver. You know what I mean? It's just, and they're just sure in ears. The 218s, I think, is what they are. Yeah, nothing super crazy. It's just because I don't really need a lot. If I can, as long as I can hear myself and then like hear like maybe some drums and then maybe Steve, you know what I mean? Like I think I'm good. Like usually, like it's not even anything super crazy. And the drums is like kick and snare, just enough to keep me on rhythm. Like that's it. I mean, and of course click. Like that's like four things. You know what I mean? Like everybody else, like they've got to have the other guitars and like all that other stuff. Yeah, my mix is like I felt like usually the easiest one to mix because it's just like a couple things. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like but yeah, it's nothing super crazy. It's a Shure SM7 or Shure 58.
Yeah.
So just your typical standard touring mic,
Sure is
but
got that on lockdown, man. They've got a handle on the mic market, and it
I was
oh
gonna say, and they're durable. They last freaking forever. Like you buy $100 mic, you'll have it for like 6 or 8 years. Like, and that was with us like consistently touring too. Like, I mean, I felt like I beat the crap out of that thing sometimes and it still worked perfectly fine. Like, I think it got to the point where at one time where I went to like unplug it from the XLR, and like it actually pulled the guts of the microphone out because it had just gotten so beaten up and like loose on the inside at this point, So, but I had that mic for like 7 years though, so I think it's time to go.
If you had taped it, I'm sure it'll have
As I
lasted.
say, I'm sure it still would have been fine. Yeah, save me an extra $100.
They're workhorses, man, and you got to
Yeah.
commend her for putting up something that cheap and being that, durable and
Oh
sound
yeah.
good for
I
the
was going to say the SM7B is like the staple in its class. I mean, for anybody looking for a decent recording mic, and even like podcast mic, it does everything. It's even a decent live mic if you can compress it in the right way, like have the right compressor with it and stuff like that. Like it is like the best. Like seriously, I saw Send the Hill one year at a festival that we played. This was years ago, but he had an SM7B as his live microphone, and I
okay.
was just like blown away by that. I was like, "That's a studio mic! Like, what the heck?" And I just never seen that before. But yeah, I mean, dude, it literally doesn't get any better than that. So
I got the classic SM57 sitting up there somewhere on my
yeah, yeah, those are great. I mean, they're great instrument mics, So
this one's Audio Technica.
yeah, I mean, those are I was gonna say, I mean, for like low volume stuff, you know what I mean, like stuff that doesn't require a lot of you're basically not beating the crap out of it. You know what I mean? You're not like doing a lot of intensive stuff with it. Yeah, Audio Technica is perfectly fine. Yeah, like podcasts or even some streaming and stuff like that, where you're like talking and stuff, like you're not actually singing or screaming or stuff that doesn't require a lot of fluctuation. Like, yeah, micro Audio Technicas are perfectly fine. Plus, they're a lot cheaper than Shure's, so they're
This
like they're like they're like half the price.
yeah, this one's pretty good. I've used it for some vocals and it comes out
Mm.
it comes out pretty great. I don't remember which model this is, to be honest with you.
Right.
Um, Audio Technica and Shure, they're the workhorses of the audio recording industry, and
Yeah.
honestly, wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your in-ear mix. That it's always interesting to hear people's in-ear mix because I've had people tell me, "Oh, I've got everything like this is up, this is down, but I can't
Hmm.
hear much of the background noises or that's turned up." And some people,
Hmm.
oh yeah, I just listened to the studio track and
Wow.
click and that's it. And I'm like, that's so interesting. So as soon as
Yeah.
I heard that, I'm like, I have to ask everybody how their in-ear mix is. It blows my
Right.
mind to see just how different everyone's in-ear mixes are. Like from
Yeah.
not just from like a drummer to a vocalist to a guitar player, but like to guitar player or drummer to drummer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
drastically. Um, so we're getting toward the end of the podcast here, and of course we got a couple more questions. First question is
Sure.
always gotta ask, even though you guys put out the cover record last year, do you have
Mhm.
any new music coming out that you can share?
Oh, I mean, nothing I can share right now, but there is more music coming for sure. So yeah, yeah. Don't worry about that. We're always in the house. We're always working on stuff. So, but yeah, nothing, no updates or anything that we can share so far. But like, yeah, we're definitely working on new music.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Mm.
And I gotta ask, are there any upcoming shows that you guys are going to be doing? Any festivals that you can share?
I mean, yeah, I did just send out an announcement video. I didn't post it yet because like I didn't know if Loud and Proud had posted it yet. But the German festival that we played last year, we used to play one called Christmas Rock Night, but they don't really do stuff anymore. So the new one that's having a lot of those bands come through is Loud and Proud, and they've been doing it for several years. So we're doing that festival again, but that's not until September. Um, I think we're doing some other festivals, and I think a couple of them are confirmed, but I'm honestly not quite sure. I'd have to because I have like a list of all this stuff because I have to make sure I put the PTO in. So, but yeah, have a list of stuff. I mean, we've got some shows lined up this year. I'm just not quite remembering correctly where they're at.
Well, I hope there's a couple down my way. I'll definitely be there. Uh,
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, this isn't talked about yet, but about what exactly we're gonna do. But just as a reminder, it is the 10-year anniversary for 5x5. So
it
there
is.
is that. Yeah, there is that. So yeah. So I'm sure we'll be figuring something out and like posting updates about that. So because like obviously like just like any other band, like we want to like tour on that, even if it's only for like a week or something. It's just like like what we did with Captors. um Even if something super short, we're just like, no, like it's 5x5 and it's a 10-year, like we definitely want to do something. So
Yeah, of course. Okay. There's a cat above my head.
I saw
Always,
that. There's
always,
two. There's that one, and there's the other one behind you.
he's sleeping and he always wants to be the center of attention. So typically how it goes during the podcast.
Right.
They're the unsung stars
I
of
just
the
don't know how they sit up there like that. Like, how do you sit up on top of that chair? Oh, okay. He's struggling. I see that now. Like I saw his rear end hanging off the backside. I get it now.
he's he's just got his nails in the blanket.
Right. Yeah.
He cracks me up. Okay. So our final part is the most fun part that I think
Mm,
for the artist as it is for me, because I
mm.
get you can learn a lot about a person from this one. It's called Dream Festival. I stole it from the Downbeat podcast. It's mine now. He doesn't
Oh,
like it, so it's mine.
yeah.
Um,
Dream Festival.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna curate a dream festival. I'll walk
Yeah.
you through it. The only stipulation is Wolves at the Gates will be playing at some
Oh,
point. We'll get to
for
that.
sure.
Um,
Dream.
you ready for it?
Okay.
We got to start with the most important part, the food, catering. What's it gonna be like?
Mm. Man, I mean, there's a really great barbecue place that's here that's like, I mean, it's definitely like franchise. You know what I mean? It's not like a local spot or anything. But there's a place called City Barbecue here that I
Yes.
really love. Yeah, I've had them cater some events before and they don't miss. Like they're just so good. Um Definitely, yeah, definitely brisket, pulled pork, that kind of thing. Because if it's a festival, it's definitely in summertime, and what's better summertime than barbecue? So,
Speaking,
um, yeah, I mean, and then maybe some of your typical concessions. You know how it is.
the old pizza,
Uh,
beer, hot dog
oh yeah,
combo.
yeah, oh yeah. Um,
Sounds
Man, that's a lot of bands to come up with. I mean, I
good.
can maybe think of like one day's worth of bands. You know what I mean? But I don't know about a whole roster.
And you just have to give me a few. You don't have to give me a ton.
Okay. I mean, I definitely have Blindside come back. Like that's a no brainer to me. That show was so insane. Like it was so good. The Showdown for sure. A lot of these are Furnace Fest picks, which like I said, man, Furnace Fest has been doing something right for a long time. So
And don't miss.
um no, yeah, I mean the Showdown, Plea for Purging, because I know they played this previous year and like that was insane. I saw the crowd for that one. That was crazy. Um, Let me think.
I think the dude from the Showdown lives here now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, if I'm
Uh,
not mistaken.
I would definitely have a band called The Refused. I don't know if you ever listened to them.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a song called New Noise that was really big of theirs. I really liked that band growing up. Oh, what else? Definitely have Thrice play. Would love to have uh, because my wife has ruined me and like got me huge into Avenged Sevenfold like way back in the day. That would be cool as a headliner. I got to see them recently, which was a lot of fun.
Is that with falling in?
Um, uh, it was like at a fest. It was at that louder than life fest. Yeah, they headlined that, so that was cool. But I think Falling in Reverse was there, if I remember correctly. Gotta have the boys in Memphis Mayfire. They always put on a good show. Hmm, man, I don't know. Definitely would love to have. Oh, I literally just Sleep Token. I don't know if you ever got into them at all recently, but that dude is rad. Like that dude is sick. His voice is super unique.
Seen them live yet?
Yes, yeah, I saw them. I saw them at Louder Than Life when we went. Um,
Okay, thank you. Gotta get.
um, oh yeah, you got to, man. Yeah, we saw them. We saw them at one of the side stages because they headlined one of the side stages there, and that was nuts. That was awesome.
We saw them at Blue
Um,
Ridge last year before they had sound issues and then the next 2 days got canceled. So rip
oh
the
jeez.
show.
Oh gosh. I'll tell you what festival I'm probably never going to is When We Were Young.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
uh, my
Just
buddy, my buddy Matt, he's like one of my best friends here. We hang out all the time. He and his girlfriend went to When We Were Young the first year they had it. Like I think it was his last year or a couple years ago now or something.
yeah,
The first year that they had it when they announced all those bands. Um, and like it was like the big hype year, right? Like it's like, hey, this is our first year, like this is going to be insane. And then they canceled it due to weather issues, and
yep.
like, and then like I think it was like it even took forever to get people their money back, like to try to refund them too. They were having just like, oh, like I'm surprised they're even doing it again this year because it's just like, how do you even like come back from something like that? And then like it was really crappy too because all the bands that like were gonna play that ended up playing like random weekend shows like in Vegas while they were in town. And it's like, but they were still charging they were still charging money for their tickets. And we're just like, oh, come on, dude. Like I think
That's
the
how
the
Blue
only
Ridge
band that
is
didn't
right
do
now.
that was Red Jumpsuit Apparatus.
They're such good dudes. Red jumpsuit apparatus, and they got
Oh,
so
dude, they're
big.
great. Dude, they're fantastic. I was really glad that we got to do that European run with them this previous like back in September just because like we love those dudes. Like Ronnie is such a nice dude. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, like they're like just the whole band is just awesome guys. Like they're awesome. So um
Yeah,
but
Winter Fest is it's still going on. They got Emery's playing an album in full. I forget which one. They're playing Weeks In. Uh
yeah. Well,
he-
A Day to Remember is also playing Homesick front to back. So the
oh,
record that like got them huge. Like that's which is like insane. So oh yeah, man,
oh.
it's crazy.
Yeah, Blue Ridge people are still waiting on getting their money back. They said they've had to hold off from saying anything due to insurance reasons or something like that. They've been real dodgy about it.
Oh yeah. Well, they're going to because they were just hoping people are just gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
So
I got my money back already. I disputed it through the bank.
oh good. Oh okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, anytime, yeah, like That's the bank's problem, not yours.
And got my chunk of change back and went and saw In This Moment with Ice Nine Kills. So worked
That's
out.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Next part of our dream festival is, where's it gonna be? We gotta know where it is.
Oh man, I mean, definitely somewhere in the Midwest where there's no weather issues. I think the worst thing you have to worry about here in the Midwest is maybe a tornado, and that's about it. Like it's really not that bad.
We got
That's
them.
why I feel you get the extremes with all you guys that live on the coast. It's like, yeah, you get the awesome weather year round, but then it's like hurricanes and potential like floods and stuff like that. It's just like, no thanks. I'll stick to my bipolar weather and my once a year tornado warning. I think we'll be good.
We recently got 3 days worth of tornado warnings.
That's insane.
It was bad. We sheltered in place one of the days at work, and then the other
Mm.
day they were like, "Be prepared to do so," and then we never did. And I was like, "Oh,
Right.
now I have to work." No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we got to know where you're staying. What's your accommodations like? Are we doing Airbnb? We camping? We roughing it out on the streets with the local hobos? What are we doing?
I mean, I've usually had pretty good experience with Airbnbs. Airbnbs are nice, and it's you know, usually people just trying to get some extra income out of their own home. And like a lot of the Airbnbs I've been to have actually been pretty nice. So like, which is plus there's all these sites out there that like do vacation home stuff like that for like really nice places. So um, yeah, I don't really mess with hotels as much anymore, even unless we have to.
Fair enough. They've got a new Airbnb, or they did a short run of the Airbnb. It was the Scooby Doo Mystery Machine.
What the heck? That's funny.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, who played Shaggy in the live action and then subsequent cartoons.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard is. He promoted it uh on Airbnb's site for like a commercial, and I was like, that's got to be the strangest and coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. 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 Uh that's a weird demographic there.
Yeah, definitely for the inner kid in some people.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Looks like we got ourselves a festival. I'd ask you what to call it, but that'll take I've learned that quite a bit to figure out.
It'll adopt its own name. It'll just come to us.
For sure. I mean, uh I started asking that as an alternate, like as an extra question to the Dream Festival to try to make it more interesting, but it turned out it would just add an extra 5 minutes to the podcast of just silence that I have to cut out.
Right, trying to think of the name. Yeah.
I go, "Ah, what could it be?" And they're like, "Well,
Yeah.
it could be this," and then they're like, "No." And you sit there and yeah, so I'm not doing that no more. Okay, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's been a blast, man.
one last question before you go. What would you like to have as the outro song by Wolves at the Gate for the podcast?
Oh, well, let's we talked about the cover album a lot. We could do let's do the Billie Eilish song. That sounds cool. Maybe
Okay.
get that some trends. That would be sick.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Thank you so much again for coming on, and I appreciate it, man. It's been fun.
Dude, always, anytime, brother. I appreciate you.
Okay.